Welcome back, beauties. Welcome to the Feminine Leadership Summit. I'm really excited to introduce you today to Karen Prosen. She is a women's witness, a daughter of devotion, and an artist. She guides rising femme leaders into self-initiation and remembrance with her many offerings in person and online. She's trained as a clinical mental health therapist with an emphasis on social justice, somatics, mindfulness, and trauma healing. And Karen serves as a student first and foremost. She supports women to treat their bodies as temples, become living vessels, and pour their magic forth on the pilgrimage of leadership, love, and liberation. Karen believes that life is a gift, and even so, no one should ever have to do it alone. Welcome, Karen.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Lily. It's great to be here with your community and all the hearts listening and saying hi to everybody and sharing my gratitude. Yeah, it feels great.
Yay. Thank you for being here. So, for anybody that hasn't met you, kind of hasn't dove into the work that you do, will you just share a little bit more about your personal journey of how you got to be doing what you're doing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thanks for asking. We all have such powerful stories, and every time I share them, it's another layer of healing for me. So grateful to share. And I feel so amazed at my own journey and what I've been capable of when I look back at being really sick and homeless and going through all kinds of really difficult, just body-based survival issues with a lot of trauma in my family and all the things like eating issues and addiction issues. It was a curiosity about the earth, I think, that kind of started me on my healing journey. And that generosity and healing that we experienced with her kind of started there. And I ended up in a 12-step program to heal. And what was interesting about that program is, they connect you to a higher power, which is super powerful, to surrender your life. And what I realized in part of that program was that the higher power that, I was getting so much help from was actually inside of me as well. And that started to ripple out into my life and kind of start taking me away from toxic situations, abusive relationships, codependency, those types of things. And the journey has just kind of spiraled from there. And I've been on some wild rides, and I would say a big part of it as well, which you might be hearing from a lot of other feminine leaders, is relationship with the womb. And more recently, getting really close to the terror that comes with awakening, and mentoring really deeply with that. Surprising myself by being able to get through some really scary things and just feel better on the other side of it. I always say there's only love on the other side of the fear and the initiations. And right now I'm in a space of working with the Black Womb, the Divine Mother. I have a personal mentorship with that, and the Holy Family of Mother Mary, Mary Magdalene, and Yeshua. And still kind of surprises me and shocks me that that's part of my dharma and my life path, because I never would have expected that. And it's been a wild journey, and I'm super open and happy to share about any parts of it. But that's just a little bit.
Thank you so much. Thanks for your transparency. 12 steps was definitely one of the pieces along my journey as well that was really supportive. And then at a certain point was like, all right, now I need to go beyond this kind of identity of an addict or whatever else, but continues to support in so many ways. And I think is something, an amazing resource out there for anybody.
Yeah. And I think especially for people who are just starting out on figuring out where to go or what to do in their healing journey, and maybe if they don't have a lot of money, it's like a free community resource that I highly recommend anybody go to wherever they are on their path. I think there's often, just a lot there for people.
Yeah. And just kind of want to quickly mention that, if you don't feel like you're an addict or in some way, that there's also Al-Anon, which is a really great program for, we all know some version of people who have been addicted in some way and are affected and codependent, and all sorts of different things come up. So, yeah. You mentioned the dark womb, the dark mother. Kind of feeling like some more might want to be said or shared about that for anybody that doesn't, relate to what that is, or even like, as you said, there's been a few women that have shared about womb work and connecting with the womb here. But I still feel like it's such a mysterious thing that is sometimes difficult to articulate. But I'd love for you to speak a little deeper into that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the womb, she's such a mysterious and dynamic and undefinable thing that, how do we even talk about it? How do we share about it? And that's what's so exciting about my work with her was, I think my curiosity about the Buddhist teachings around emptiness, and just being like, what is emptiness? What is emptiness when we're here in these bodies, and things can be super dense here on this plane, and just wanting to really understand that. So that's where it came from, a curiosity around that, but then also looking at different teachings where, the womb and creation are such a big part of our ability to commune with life, and beyond life. And my own experience with having an abortion, I realized, wow, my womb holds life and death at the same time, and knows exactly what she's doing. That really mystified me in a way of wanting to know more. And there's a piece for me around the Black womb and social justice and white supremacy, and this deconstructing and decolonizing of life in general. And so the Black womb being this teacher of all possibility. So like empty Black womb, rainbow of possibility. And we have these like ideas of what our lives should look like in terms of success and beauty, when really there's actual equality in all of form. And so I've been on a journey of deconstructing my whiteness, deconstructing myself, my femininity, the hierarchies that I exist in the world, and wanting to break it all down. And when I lead other people into the Black womb, in journeys, and when I lead myself once a week into the Black womb, and then we can do that with our breath too. But it can be really scary, and it's kind of like a lightning path to me of deconstruction and then creation. So the things that aren't real for us can start to dissolve, and then the things that want to be real and want to be revealed can be revealed from this place of primordial power and primordial possibility. So that's a little bit about it. And I consider the Black womb the feminine version of Christ consciousness, or at least like a part of it. It's very complicated. I still don't understand, and that's why I'm mentoring with her. But so the shadow, the feminine, the darkness, the richness of life is really exciting to me. And I'm on a path of sometimes really intense prayers to deconstruct and dissolve, which kind of put me into these situations of challenge, and realizing that I can also have prayers for the gentleness and the ease that the Divine Mother wants for us. So I've added that second part to my prayer of removing the things that are not real and are not true of my being. So yeah, that's a little bit about the Black for me.
Yeah, it's powerful. I love how you kind of drew that link to also like white supremacy and really doing your part to deconstruct all of that kind of just social conditioning and the kind of paradigm of privilege in a way. I have a book that my computer's on here actually called Waking Up White that I'm working through at the moment. Do you know that
I
one?
love that book.
Yeah, it's so good.
That was the first book that opened me up to whiteness, and so grateful. So cool you're reading that.
Yeah, I'm reading it, and then I'm with like a group of women that I meet in a couple of hours time, and we kind of just talk about what comes up about it, noticing our own privilege. So I'm glad this is coming up in the conversation, and yeah, recommend anyone to go and get that book, Waking Up White.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And to start to, if anybody listening that like the dark feminine, the black womb feels like foreign or maybe scary or something, that this is actually a place inside of us, right, that we hold, and is connected to this kind of larger collective archetype or being. And yeah, it can be really powerful, I believe. And what I really hear you speaking to is the deconstruction of those kind of maybe the things we can't even see, but our inner programming and conditioning, and belief systems and ways that we've been subtly and not subtly taught to be, and truly like discovering in that, as those parts of you kind of die, essentially, what parts of you want to be born or reconnected with, remembered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I find a lot of people in their prayers are praying for the things that they want, and like the things that they don't want. And for me, I find so much courage and surrender and actually support in the place of being like, well, my prayer is to remember what my higher self and like the powers that be want me to remember, because that's always going to be more exciting, more adventurous, more beautiful, more prosperous, more joyful, and more healing than the things I think I want. Every time I like tear down the castles of like whiteness, for example, or I tear down the castles of what I think I want my life to look like and step back a little bit, what I get in return is always better than I could have ever dreamt. And that's what's cool about the Black Womb. It's like such a deep trust. It's such a deep surrender that I find really exciting. And like, I want to hang out with people who like also get that and wants to do this thing, together.
Yeah. So let's talk about Yeshua and Magdalene, because they're here, and Jesus came up in one of the earlier recordings I did today as well. So I feel that really present wants to come through and be spoken to, because so many of us, right, our only kind of understanding or connection with Jesus, even more so than Magdalene, because she was, kind of cut out of a lot of it and told her stories. but yeah, our connection with Jesus is through Christianity or Catholicism. And that was told through a very particular lens. So I'd love to open up the space for just to share about your connection with them and how that supports you in your journey.
Yeah, thank you. I could go on for a long time about this. I'll keep it narrow, and I'm so glad that it's come up. And I think, first of all, it's just an honor to be in discussion with them and connecting with them. And what I feel for me is serving with them and through their support and instruction, I think, or at least guidance, is really exciting. So I think like the end of June, I'll be leading a second retreat on Magdalene and Yeshua, and I just can't even believe it sometimes, but just keep stepping into it. And yeah, I didn't know anything about Mary Magdalene as a kid, and like was in a church and like liked Jesus, but didn't actually ever connect with him. And I was just sitting on the beach one day, and I was reading a book called Living Buddha, Living Christ by Thich Nhat Hanh. And I was really into the Buddha, and I could just meditate and tap into his love and start to cry. And something was, I was just making connections of like, oh, what is this like Buddha Christ, yogi Christ energy that I'm like finding here and there. And so it unfolded in that way, but most of the unfolding of all of our journeys are about curiosity and inspiration. So I had a powerful, spontaneous experience with him in a lucid state where I met him in the black womb and received instructions from him and a blessing from him, just in the desire to get closer to him. And so that has influenced decisions I've made and vows that I've taken, and it's been so wonderful. And I only feel him getting closer and closer as me. And so one of the ways that I work, I mean, I can't even help myself. I literally have a picture of him right here. Like, it's just with me all the time. And in my journey of remembering the Magdalene and becoming the Magdalene is that when I work with Yeshua as a masculine principle, I automatically become the Magdalene that I already am. And so that works with any masculine energy of like the Christos of that person or energy polarizes to me, and then I embody that feminine Christ aspect that is a seed within me and is opening within me and teaching me. And so that's a really that's what's really fulfilling for me within my own body, but also in connection with in community and with my friends and lovers. So that's kind of the biggest way that I'm working with them right now. Go ahead.
I'm curious. I'm curious what, and you're discovering in your working with their energies, what do you have kind of a definition of what Christ is for anybody out there that only knows it through the lens of the church? Or anybody else?
Sure. In the past week, it changes all the time. That's the dynamic form of Christ in form, is that it's always changing, and it means everything all at once, from a blade of grass to Jesus himself. All glorified to me, and I'm learning to remember that. But even just in the past week, I've been associating Christ with the sun, and pure light. So that's a really easy way that people can connect with the energy of Christ is through pure light, and an easy way is the sun. And to see that, like, Buddha was also a Christ, and any awakened being is is and was a Christ. And so Yeshua, he is Jesus the Christ, but that's just one Christ. And his teachings were really that we all are that. And when he, in the translations of his work, it's not quite saying believe in me. The Aramaic translation is actually saying believe like me, which means purify your mind like me. And then you will see the kingdom of heaven all around you. It's already here. So I hope that's helpful for some people to kind of make that link. And then the feminine Christ, you can start to think about it as like the dark moon, just that empty womb, giving birth to all of form in all of the many ways it shows up, kind of like a baby.
Beautiful. Yeah. I'm hearing essentially the sacredness of all life. I'm hearing light, love, energy is that Christ energy, and in the masculine and the feminine form, and the feminine form comes in this kind of more empty, dark kind of space where we can like go within. It's kind of like winter and summer energies. Beautiful.
Yeah, that's one easy way to think about it. And I read a book called Tantric Jesus. Such a beautiful, well-written, amazing book about the divinization of humanity through Christ consciousness and the transfiguration of the human body and material world into light. And so that's what Yeshua did, was he had his human body and then he transfigured it into his light body through Mary Magdalene's loving and just powerful, courageous support, along with the whole order that was supporting him. And so in that book, Tantric Jesus, there's a part where these priests who don't really know much about like Indian spirituality are meditating on Christ and the resurrection and the cross. And this one priest basically starts seeing at, where Christ was resurrected on the cross, he's seeing Kali Ma dancing during the resurrection, where like it's just replaced. And so as the thunder rolled and the lightning cracked, like while he was in that in-between state, such a beautiful thing to look at the dance of destruction, like with Kali and the feminine. So there's just so many ways to look at it and so many ways to experience the story of resurrection and transformation. So exciting to me.
Beautiful. So curious for you, the summit's called the Feminine Leadership Summit. Curious what feminine leadership means to you.
Yeah. To me, it means receptivity. So hearing the call, right? That's a receptive thing, like hearing the call to serve. So you imagine like the womb filling up with creative life force, and then we pour it out from there. We give it away. To me, that's feminine leadership. So I've used those words before, like fill up, pour forth. Like you're the vessel, you're the chalice, and then you pour it out of you because it's not yours. So whatever wisdom, prosperity, gifts, learning you received, it's the offering, like the breasts of the mother, just giving it back. And willing to be empty enough to give it back in a way that is beneficial to others. Because when we create something in the world and our trauma is birthing with it, it changes us, but it's also giving a certain vibration of energy into the world. So being willing to empty yourself, and then to pour forth from there is an inspiring outlook for me. That's what's alive right now.
I love it. And why now? Why do you feel that we're being called into stepping into that feminine leadership now to receive and to fill up and to pour forth into the world.
I'm going to sit with that one for a moment. It's a big question. Yeah, I think what's present for me, what's coming up is this feeling of wanting homecoming for everybody and wanting to share that with everybody. So if I have certain privileges, I'm not free until everybody's free. And sometimes I get tired, I have an autoimmune issue and injuries, and I get really tired, and I can't always do as much as I'd love to do. And when I do have the energy and the vibrancy to give and share, it is so much more exciting, to do this together. And I think that's a feminine way, in community and sharing and in generosity, because it's not authentic for me to be in my bubble of beauty and my bubble of pleasure and bliss when I know and I can feel, or I can even look out the car window and see the other reality. It hurts, So why now is because we're not alone, and we're in this together. And until I can walk down the grocery store aisle and feel connected, and like my brothers and sisters are also remembering who they are, it's just not fun.
Yeah.
and then there's like, the intensity of what's happening on the earth. Like, we can really go there and say, like, yeah, because this is our home, this is our body, this is the planet that we're here to commune with and learn from, and there's no time but now. Right?
Yeah. Thank you so much. I know that you have another gift to share with everybody also.
Yeah, thanks. I actually just put it together yesterday for you and for your community. And it was really vulnerable. I had some emotions come up as I was like ready to hand this baby off, to the world, or whoever wants to see it. I spent a year celibate and sober after a Kundalini awakening, where I really felt called to protect the energy moving in my body. And there was a piece of it that was really healing around trusting myself and trusting my boundaries and the preciousness of my life force. And yeah, so I wrote a 7-piece kind of, I call it like a secret writing transmission, because it's very, very personal to me, and there are vulnerable details, and I want to share that with people while I feel just met in that, met in the experience, and be able to exchange, have people write back and connect with me about it. So it's a 7-piece writing, and there's also journaling questions and takeaway kind of mantras or affirmations that people who are reading it are telling me that it's really life-changing for them to have these reminders, and they've been pasting them on their walls, and that was really touching to hear. So I thought maybe it would be a good fit for your community, and that I felt, happy to share it.
Yes, thank you so much. Such a gift. Yeah, I know how tender and deep that journey can be of celibacy and also sobriety. So thank you for doing it, being it, and sharing it. Well, loves, we would love to hear from you. What comes up as you received this transmission? I'd really love to hear what comes up for you, and share that with Karen around receiving that gift of hers and diving in deeper to that process. And yeah, if you have any other thoughts or feelings, questions around anything we discussed, we'd love to hear from you. And we'll see you tomorrow. Much love.